Go.
Hey, Rick McBride here with 5 minutes of free time, your property master's 5 minutes of free time. Just wanted to go over today, working with a few home buyers, and I wanted to go over a home buyer's checklist that we created to make sure that you get all the steps done. And inevitably you get to the end, you're ready to close, and you're like, hey, did you order the home warranty? And all of a sudden that didn't happen, and it's a frantic, chaotic pace when you're already in a state of confusion anyway, because all your stuff's in boxes. So what we want to do is we want to make that process as easy as possible. We want to go ahead and put this checklist together for you. You can find this checklist at yourpropertymastersblog.com, along with all of our 5 minutes of free times, and as well as some other cool posts and things like that. So you can find that at yourpropertymastersblog.com, all the stuff that we do here. First of all, home buyer's checklist, feel free to print it off and use it as well. First thing you're going to want to put on that checklist is your closing date. You want to know your closing date, and you want to know it well, because we're all working towards meeting that closing date. I believe I saw a stat the other day that only about 48% of properties actually close on their closing date, but we want to do everything we can to make that happen. It's always much smoother that way, and doesn't cause a bunch of confusion there at the end. You'll want to know who your title company is, so go ahead on this checklist and write your title company information in there, the name, the phone number, and who's going to be processing your transaction at the title company. It'll be assigned to a processor and then probably a closer, and that person will probably not be the same person. Contact your title company and give them all of your contact info. Your contact info, whoever you're buying the house's contact info, give them as much info as you can, because if they're needing to get a hold of you, they need to get a hold of you typically right then. So make sure they're able to do that on a regular basis and in multiple formats, depending on how they need to get a hold of you. Of course, we're going to provide the contract to the title company. So you have to make an escrow deposit. So when you go make the escrow deposit, take a copy of the contract. We'll probably send it, but just to be sure, make sure you take a copy of a contract to them, because that's where they're going to build the closing from. And then finally, you need to send a copy of your contract to your lender as well, because he's going to start building the loan and start putting all of that together. And of course, the contract is the document that dictates everything. You're going to make your escrow deposit, like I said. We're going to go ahead and make formal loan application at this point. So you're going to go to your lender, sit down with them, and you might do it online these days, but you're going to actually make a formal loan application. To this point, you've probably got loan approval based on all your credit and things like that, but now we're going to do a formal loan application where they start and they send it to underwriting and everything starts to go through. At this time, you probably have somewhere between 7 to 15 days to do your home inspection. We typically do 10 days, but that's always negotiable, so you never know for sure. But best to get your home inspection out of the way right away. If you can do it in the next day or two, do it. So schedule your home inspection. If it's on a septic system, you're going to want to schedule a septic inspection. Make sure when you schedule a septic inspection, you get a company that does not do drain fields. That way you know they're not trying to sell you a drain field or stick a drain field to the seller. Get a septic guy who just does septic and doesn't do drain fields. He will be impartial. If you're doing an FHA loan, or even if you're not doing an FHA loan, if you're on a well, you may want to get the well water tested. You never know what's in that well water, so it's always a good idea to get that tested. And then there's multiple other tests that you can do as well. Not a lot of them are standard around here, but you might want to do something like mold or radon or things like that, depending on the status or the situation of the house. And all of those are identified in the contract that you have the ability to test for them as part of the inspection clause. But the ones that we see the most are home inspection with a WDO, wood destroying organisms. We used to call this termites, but it covers more than termites, so they call it wood destroying organisms now, as well as wood rot. The guy's going to look for rot up in the attic and stuff like that, which is a very important thing to know, especially if you're getting an FHA loan, because they will accept no rot. So make sure that you schedule a home inspection, the septic, the well water, And then when you make your formal loan application, you're going to order an appraisal. You typically have to pay for the appraisal in advance. So make sure you get that appraisal ordered. That's another thing we want to get out of the way. We want to know if there's any issues with the appraisal. We want to either fix them or be done with the transaction because we can't fix them. One of the two, and move forward. We don't want to keep that house under contract or keep you in limbo all this time while we're waiting for the appraisal and the inspection. So get all of that done as quickly as possible. Once you're further into the transaction, you're going to order home insurance. So contact your insurance agent, or any insurance agent for that matter, and make sure that you shop around, because you can get some substantially different prices on home insurance. So make sure that you line that up and have a binder ready to go on the date of closing. They're pretty flexible. If the closing date changes, it's not a big deal. You just call them and let them know. Also, if a warranty was included, make sure that the seller or the buyer's agent orders that warranty for you, and that it's included on the closing statement. That's something that often gets forgotten. So make sure that that warranty's done. And at the same time, the title company is going to ask you if you need to order a survey. The lender will dictate whether they want a survey or not, and then if they don't, then it's your option to do it. Oftentimes they can take the existing survey and just recertify it. Saves you a little money. But highly recommend a survey. It's cool to have a survey of your property, know where your property lines are, make sure no one has fence onto your property. And if it's a larger property, you absolutely have to do a survey. But the bank's probably going to require that anyway. Finally, you need to turn on the power, the water, and the gas. The power you can do with a phone call. The gas you can do with a phone call. The water, not so easy. Water, you can get everything lined up, but you're going to need a copy of your settlement statement, your Alta closing statement, to get the water turned on. So typically you have to leave closing, go to the water company, call the water company, email them, whatever. If it's county, they can set it up and you just email them the closing statement when you're done. And that statement has to be signed by all parties. That's why at closing they give you they make you sign 5 or 6 copies, because everybody needs an original. So make sure that you get that done. The day before closing, at least, if not the morning of closing, you're going to want to wire the closing funds. You should have received a closing disclosure 3 days before, and that should tell you how much you need to wire. So go ahead and make sure you wire those funds. Have them waiting in the title company's escrow account when you go to closing. Don't let that be an issue that holds up the process. And then either the night before or the morning of closing, we'll go over and do a final walkthrough. Make sure that nothing's changed. They didn't take the refrigerator like they weren't supposed to. They didn't take down the fixtures or anything. That everything is exactly like you thought it should be when you bought the house. Make sure they cleaned it up, that type of stuff. And then finally, once you're closed and once you're done, you're going to get your deed in the mail that it's been recorded, and you need to drive down to the county appraiser or assessor right there on Enterprise or at the county itself, and apply for your homestead. Do not delay that. Do not hesitate it. You get the deed in the mail, you go that day or the next day at the latest and apply for the homestead. You will forget, and it will cost you thousands of dollars. So make sure you apply for that homestead. So, know anyone wanting to sell any property or businesses? Let us know. We are happy to help them out. 386-866-1007. We are your property masters, and we get you top dollar for your property or your business.